Hey, what's up, guys? So today I thought I'd talk about some Path of Exile. It's a game I've been playing quite a lot recently, so I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of an overview of the game. So if you guys want to check it out, you can, or if you're already playing it, maybe you just want to look at this video because it might touch on a couple of things you might not know if you just started playing. Anyway, it's a very fun game. As you probably noticed by now by this gameplay, it is a action RPG or a dungeon crawler, very similar to Diablo 2 or Diablo 3. More similar to Diablo 2 because it kind of took what Diablo 2 did and it's really expanded on that and made it a lot of fun for people who play Diablo 2 like myself. So, as I said, it is free to play, or maybe I didn't say that yet, but it's gone to open beta now and it is free to play. All you have to do is go to their game, pathofexile.com, I believe it is, and you can download the game from there. So if you want to check it out, you can. But it's a lot of fun since it is free to play. There is ways to buy stuff in the game to support the developers, but the cool thing is all the stuff that you can buy doesn't give you any advantage. It's just all cosmetic goods and convenience kind of stuff like buying extra tabs for your stash. So it's pretty cool in that way. It's definitely not a pay to win model whatsoever. So what I want to do to start off here is we're going to start talking about some of the characters you can play as. Alright, so here we got the character creation screen or the class creation, whatever you want to call them. So you got 6 different classes. We got the Templar here. We got the Shadow. I'm not going to go too in depth on all of these because they're all very similar. They just kind of start off in different places on the passive skill tree. You got the Marauder, kind of a warrior class. You got a Ranger as well, bow class, or you can use swords on it. It's really cool because you're not restricted on what you can use on each of these classes. So I'll talk about that in a bit. You got the duelist as well, and finally you got the witch, which is mainly used as a spellcaster, but there's nothing stopping you of using two-handed swords or anything like that on this character. Alright, so here we got the passive skill tree. Like I said, it is kind of where each one of these classes start is based upon what character you are, where you start on the skill tree. As you can see, this is where I start from Marauder, and as you go around the skill tree, each of the places I'm pointing is a different starting location. So as you can see, this skill tree is gigantic, and there's a lot of different options you can do. There's different keystone passives, like you can see blood magic there. It removes all my mana and makes it use life for mana instead. And there's very simple ones that just give you strength and life, all kinds of different stuff. You can see my which is passive tree here. You can see there's a lot of cast speed, nose, cold damage, all kinds of really different cool stuff, but it really allows you to build your character any way you want. Alright, so I'm going to flip back over to the Marauder passive skill tree here, just as I talk about a couple things. Now there's so many different options in the skill tree that it can be a little bit overwhelming at first. I like to call it a little bit of a skill forest because it's a little bit more than the skill tree if you ask me. So there's a lot of different things you can choose from, a lot of different cool keystone passives and that sort of thing. But one kind of important thing to note when you're choosing your passive is you don't want to pass up too many of the defensive abilities because you'll definitely need them further on in the game. And if you screw up your first character, there are a few respec points, but you might end up having to make a new character, which isn't that big of a deal, and it is a lot of fun. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so we're going to get into some of the skills and the skill gems as they call them in this game. So you find them throughout the world or from quest rewards as well. And they do different abilities like Freezing Pulse. The cool thing is they also level up. You can see this one's level 1. If I go up to this one that I have socketed, it's level 8. So they level up with you and they get a tenth of the experience you gain, which makes them a lot more powerful. And there's also support gems. Now you see these links I'm pointing to in between, and if these sockets are linked, they're going to be affected by the support gems. As you can see, there was added bonus damage and lightning penetration I had on that freezing pulse. So that's pretty cool. And then as you can see, there's ice spear. I have extra crit on it. And there's really cool ones. You can see I'm casting one now, but if I add this lesser multiple projectiles, it makes it so I cast 3 of them, but each of them do a little bit less damage. So it's a really cool skill system. Any character can use any of these skill trees. You just need the right amount of base stats to use them. But it makes for a really fun skill system, and I really like it. Alright, so another really cool system that I want to talk about is the flask system. So you can see all these flasks down here in the bottom left corner. I have some health flasks, and they all have different random magic abilities on them as well. This one actually gives me movement speed. It's a different type of flask. You have some mana ones as well. Now these flasks, they have charges, so when you use them, they lose charges, and to gain those charges back, you have to kill enemies. So as you can see here, I used my potions. I used all of them. I'm gonna run around for a bit, kill some of these enemies, and you'll see the charges the potions charges, like they charge back up, I guess. So you're able to use your potions again. So you got to keep killing constantly to use your potions, and it makes for a really cool dynamic system, and it's pretty unique to this game. There's also defensive ones, like I'm showing my inventory here, that give resistances, or this one over here is a granite flask that gives me a ton of armor, so it's pretty cool in that matter as well. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about here is the currency system. So there's no gold or anything in this game, it's all these currencies. You can see that upgrades a normal to a magic item and gives a magic item and new random properties and all kinds of different stuff. There's all kinds of different these currencies you can find. Some are incredibly rare, some are not so rare, and you usually trade them to other players, and it's all a barter system. There's no auction house or anything. So this is like the main currencies that you use, and I don't have all of them here, but it's a good set of them. I think it's really fun, and it kind of forces some player interaction, having to trade with other players this way, and I think it's really good for action RPG. Alright, so we're just going to take a look at some of the gameplay here as I finish up touching on a couple things I want to talk about. So I talked about all kinds of different stuff. I kind of briefly touched on the different characters, the skill trees and the starting locations of those skill trees. I talked about the skill gems and the support gems, which is a really cool system that I like, and it really allows you to modify the skills that you want to use and make them the way you want to make them. Like you can make them into more projectiles and that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. The Flasks system is really top notch. I think it's really cool how that works with the charges, and anytime you kill enemies, you gain charges back, allowing you to use your potions again. So it kind of keeps you motivated to the combat. And I kind of briefly touched on the currencies as well as microtransactions at the beginning of the video there. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in this game, and I didn't touch on everything, and I also didn't really talk about, or I didn't really go in depth on everything as well, because I wanted to let you guys explore some of the stuff for yourselves and check out the game for yourself because it is a lot of fun, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I suggest you guys check it out. It is free to play, like I said. You can go download it from their website. Um, it's a ton of fun. I'm going to be making some videos on it in the future, and I won't stop making the Diablo 3 videos if you're here for that, so don't worry about that. And yeah, the last couple things I want to talk about here is there is a ladder system. Now, one thing that was kind of lacking for me in Diablo 3 was there was no ladder system like there was in Diablo 2. So a ladder system basically is kind of a ladder where you see everybody's names on there, the amount of experience they have, and the level they are. So you're constantly competing with everyone to be at the top of the ladder by leveling up your characters, which can take quite a long time. So they have two different leagues. They have the default league and then they have the hardcore league. Of course, in hardcore, you can't die, or if you die, you actually get moved to the default league. So that's kind of a little bit different. Your character doesn't get totally wiped out, but you can no longer play on hardcore with it. So you kind of lose all that hardcore stuff, which it kind of sucks, but it's pretty cool. And then they also have races, so they'll have like a 1 week hardcore race. And at the end of the race, the people who are at the top of the ladder will be awarded different kind of prizes, usually some in-game currency that they can spend on microtransactions to give a little bit of a customization to their characters, which is pretty cool. And then the last kind of thing I want to talk about is endgame. So they do have some PvP. They have like 2v2s and 3v3s, that sort of thing. It's just kind of just for fun PvP, and they're going to be adding different kind of PvP things as we go along. And then they have like the PvE kind of endgame stuff is a map system, and you get these maps that you find out in the world, and then you can modify them, and it'll make it so like enemies do more physical damage, or you take more physical damage or something like that. And the harder they are, the more items and the more quality of items that you'll get. So that's pretty cool. I don't have any footage of that, but I'll show you guys the map system when I get there. It is like after you complete all the difficulties. I didn't mention this, but there are 3 difficulties. There's a lot of stuff to touch on that I haven't touched on. I wanted to keep this pretty brief, but there is a lot of stuff to go into. So, like I said, you guys should check out the game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I'll probably make some videos on it in the future, and let me know what you guys think if you've already been playing it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time, of course.